What's happening?
You are live. All right. So, all right. So, hey, everybody. Please, if you can not hear me, let me know. I hope you can. One says, I have you on two different things right now. So one says that you can hear me and one doesn't. So I just kind of need to know. You're going to have to introduce yourself. Anyway, I am going to wait for a little bit here, just a few minutes.
See if anybody's going to hop on.
Yeah, well, they normally do. It just takes a few minutes. So, yeah, we're just going to wait. We're going to wait. Oh, Brandon, I did. Dude, this was a thing. Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me, please. Just say like, yes, thumbs up, anything. Because then if not, I'm going to have to turn off my computer because I was getting a really horrible double echo.
Double echo.
Yeah, it was not fun. Let me know. Let me know.
By the way, my name is Stevie. Nice to meet whoever hops on.
Yeah, very, very good girlfriend of mine. You're going to have to introduce yourself a couple times because it's the very beginning. Anyway, I think we'll just kind of start here at the beginning and it's all good. Thank you. I did get it. Ah. Old dog can't learn new tricks.
Technology is a bitch these days.
Yeah.
Old dogs.
Old dogs. Anyway, my name is Audra Sargelis, and this is the Secrets of Sex Table Talk. This is the very beginning. This is our second episode of Table Talk, and I'm just going to kind of give it a couple more minutes and wait to see if anybody else joins. And then we're kind of just going to start going into it, and hopefully people will hop in here as we go along. I hope so. Last time that live was very good. I found it to be a success. This is Stevie. She is a very, very good friend of mine. We have known each other for 12 years. Our children have grown up together, and for her and I, we have just grown into sisters. I love her very much. She's
definitely
one of my
100%.
closest. Yeah, one of my closest peeps. So it's means a lot to me to have her here with us tonight. Again, this is kind of a no holds barred Q&A. And as you all know, I will say it again, I am not PC. All right? I'm not PC.
We're both definitely not PC. You're probably going to hear a lot more brutal shit from me than you're going to hear from her. That's for sure.
Probably. She has no filter. At all? No, zero, no filter.
Sometimes, but not really.
Sometimes means never.
I mean, if we're out to breakfast or something, you might not hear me cuss, but you're going to hear a lot of bad, foul-mouthed stuff.
That's a lie. She has no filter ever. Anyway, it's one of the things I love about her. So again, we have a few topics that we're going to cover. I have a question from a fan that we're going to get into here a little bit later. Hopefully once we see a little bit more people join. So let me do a short little recap on what happened on my last episode from the Secrets of Sex. I got into Jack the Ripper, and everyone might think that they know about Jack the Ripper, right? Everybody's heard the tale, the stories, the horror, the drama of Jack. But I have a little bit more information regarding Jack, and I think I need to get my notes. Let me do that really quickly. Yeah. So, okay. Getting into the information of Jack the absolute motherfucking Ripper. Okay. Okay. I'll be here. Okay. So we'll get into a little bit of Jack until some more people come in and give you a little history lesson. Okay?
Okay.
Fucking Jack.
Jack.
This is not Jack, however. This is something else.
Oh, we don't drink Jack.
We can't say what it is because we're not sponsored by it, and there are guidelines.
Starts with an R, but
well, hey, Billy. You are just curious to what this live thread is about. Cool. I'm glad you're here. Thank you, Lever. Right now, this is called the Secrets of Sex Table Talk. And we are going to answer any questions that you may have from a woman's perspective about sex, relationships, maybe even questions that, men are curious about with women, and they, it's just like they either can't talk to their woman about it, or they're confused, or, it's that whole men are from Mars, women are from Venus, but are we really? We're more similar than people like to admit.
I agree with that.
So, it's a no holds barred conversation is what it is, Billy. So
we're just here to talk.
Yeah. So shoot it. Like, you have some questions, you have some things that you want to ask. It really doesn't matter what it's about. Like I said, this is not a PC channel. It's not a PC live. There are several things I will not talk about. I'll have to cover this again more as more people come and join us, but I do not talk politics. All right. We live in a highly political world at the moment. We all have enough. We all have highly different views. Even if we agree on things, we all have different ideals, right, about where they come from. So I'm not going to talk politics. I'm also not going to talk religion. All right.
No.
The Secrets of Sex and my YouTube channel are actually going to cover moments of religion because they interfere with sexuality quite a bit through the ages. That doesn't mean I'm actually talking about the value system and how you feel about it or how I feel about it. Okay. I'm never going to tell you how I feel about religion.
Religion's a part of history, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it.
That's right. It's just what it is. I'm never going to be like, this is what I actually think about religion. Don't ask me. We're not going to go into it. This is like a bar. There's two things we don't talk about. And what is that?
Religion and politics.
Okay. So
simple.
Boom, boom, boom. That's it. Okay. So first off, I'm going to get back into a little bit of the history about Jack the Ripper. And people may wonder why I'm covering Jack the Ripper in the Secrets of Sex, because I cover the historical history, like historical history. Aren't those the same thing? They kind of are. The historical events of sex, right? How they are
mindsets.
Yeah, the mindsets and how things have changed throughout history, what has happened, what has led to certain events dealing with sex. Okay. They're varied and vast. Okay. So the reason I'm actually covering Jack right now is because, as we know through historical documents, Jack the Ripper attacked prostitutes. At least that's what we've always known. And the further I got into my investigation of Jack the Ripper, I have found out some really, truly amazing information about the victims. Okay. this is why I have covered Jack the Ripper. Now, throughout this entire series, hopefully this channel continues for a very long time, and we go down rabbit holes we never even thought we would go through. But there's going to be serial killers along the way because, one, they're fascinating. Number two, they all deal with sex in one form or another. Okay? That's why. Because it's a sexual deviancy. And what is this but the secrets of sex? So why wouldn't I cover it? So here we go. So while Deadwood was in full swing, right? We've talked about Deadwood. If you have not seen my YouTube channel, truly, honest to God, I suggest you go check it out. I'm getting better and better as I go. I have help now. Rachel, boo. Hi, baby. I know. I wish you could be here too next time, love.
Definitely, Rachel. I'd love to talk with you. That'd be great. I can't wait to see you one day.
We'll be all three of us at the table. So that'll be fantastic. Love you, baby. So you can see the ASY TV if you're on right now, and you can see that this is a commenter. Well, he's actually my editor. Okay. He helps me with so much. His name is Brandon. If you actually ever need any help in this manner, reach out to the man. He is a genius. Okay. And finding my YouTube, you're not going to find it through the Secrets of Sex. You're going to find it through my name, which is Audra Sargelis. That's AudraSargelis. You can also find me on Instagram at Green Eyed Wanderlust. That is GRNEYED_WANDERLUST. If you're on my Facebook, well, you're on my Facebook. I have a business page. That business page is A.Bolton Consulting LLC. You can like the page, follow me. I do my very level best. Hi, Jeremy. So nice to have you, love. Thank you.
Hi, Jeremy.
I do my best to answer all my messages as much as possible. So bear with me, okay? I really do try to answer everything. Anyway, so we have our last episode, one of our like the last main episode that dealt with Deadwood, right? The very beginnings of Deadwood, how it happened, how it progressed. And then we have, like, in the meantime, right, that's going on in the exact same time as Deadwood was Whitechapel, London. Okay? You have the United States, the wild motherfucking West, shoot 'em up, brothels, crazy times, right? And then you have Whitechapel in London, other side of the world for us, right? Some really true atrocities were going on there, and that has to do with the serial killings of upwards to 20 women. And yes, upwards to 20 women. Okay? 20. Now, there have been more serial killers before Jack that have done a lot more. They just never came to public eye because media coverage, importance, maybe people didn't know. Jack, however, this motherfucker wanted you to know.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He made a scene out of it.
He did make a scene. All right.
And not only did there's one incident actually that had happened with Jack the Ripper where he actually witnessed a woman being raped by a couple different guys on the street, and he actually killed the men too. So not only did he rape women, but he was also against women being raped in general, but he still did it.
Well, So here's where a lot of controversy comes into play at the moment. All right. So Jack supposedly never raped one victim.
In his eyes, yes.
His rape was his sexual deviancy, his sexual satisfaction was when he stuck a knife into a woman.
Yes.
That was his relief sexually.
Definitely.
That's just...
He didn't see what he was doing, apparently. He did, but he didn't.
So there... the names he originally went by were the Whitechapel Murderer and the Leather Apron.
I didn't even know about that part of it. The Leather Apron.
The Leather Apron. To me, I'm like, Chainsaw Massacre.
Right. That's what I was thinking too. Like, did he make this apron out of like skin? Like,
no.
Enlighten us.
No, it was just a traditional back in the day leather apron. But it was never confirmed that Jack ever wore anything like this. So for most every single murder that happened, there were actually eyewitnesses that had seen these women. There are a handful of the women that had been seen literally 30 minutes before their death. 30.
Wow.
Okay. 30 minutes. And the man that they had been seen with was wearing a deer skin top hat and a dark overcoat. It was never distinguished if that overcoat was actually leather or
wool or whatever the time would have been.
Or whatever. But because of the brutality of these murders, he was called the Leather Apron. It wasn't until Jack sent letters to the media and to a George Lusk from the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee and Scotland Yard that the true name of the serial killer came out. And there were 3 letters in total, but it was the second letter that came out, and that letter was coined From Hell. There has since been a movie made from this, and that stars Johnny Depp. The movie does actually cover a lot of the murders committed by Jack the Ripper. It also covers satanic rituals and all these other things. And I don't think that you can count that. I mean, like, you know, it's Hollywood. So they took Jack the Ripper and then they like grand sized it and made it more obscene. So like some of it has they moviefied it. So it's like some of it has to do and some of it doesn't. But the actual letter from hell states quite a few things. But he coined his own name and he called himself Jack the Ripper.
Definitely.
Also, the reason that they believe that this was actually the murderer, because there were literally hundreds of letters through the years that were sent to the media, Scotland Yard, and the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee. Holy crap. Online strips without clothing.
What?
Okay. Whoever is just posting apparently commercials on my thing.
I wouldn't click on that.
Don't click on that. I don't know who that's from, so I don't endorse that. So just saying. Anyway, so the only reason that these 3 letters were actually taken into consideration is because, first of all, these 3 letters had all of the same handwriting. Number 1. And then number 2 is that the second letter, coined From Hell, was received with half of a human kidney.
Wow.
and it had been preserved. We're going to get to this here in a second. So there's a couple things that are going to happen today. We're going to go through this story, and then we're going to do questions and answers. You can ask me about Jack the Ripper, and you can ask me about anything else, like I've stated. So,
what kind of questions do you guys have for us?
Well, we only have one viewer right now, so nothing.
Okay, one viewer. What do you have?
We'll get there. I'm sure. Last time we had quite a bit of interaction, and it'll get there. So the human kidney. You want to know what the human kidney was preserved in?
Cat shit? What? What is it?
I told you no filter. Oh, no. Wine.
Oh, I can understand that.
Keep this in thought.
I like the wine.
Keep this in thought, because I have my own theory about this. What's
your theory about this? You can't just give us a little bit of detail.
Oh, no, we'll get there once I cover some murders. And then once I get there, you might actually pin in on it, because you know me really well. So anyway, so this victim, right, so this letter from hell that was received by the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee came with a half of a human kidney. And, excuse me, but what? Okay, so that's why they took this seriously. Yeah. So let me put some things in perspective for Whitechapel at the time. Anyone who is joining me right now, this is a Q&A for the Secrets of Sex Table Talk, but I am covering a story that I just posted on my YouTube, which is Jack the Ripper. So please leave comments, and I'm looking at my comments right now. So if you leave a comment, I will answer you. So if you have a question, put them in the comments. I will call you out by name unless you don't want me to. And then I will answer you. So let me put some things into perspective when it came down to Whitechapel at this point in time. The population was swelling massively in the East End with approximately 80,000 inhabitants from about 1880 to 1888. Okay. Work and housing conditions worsened significantly. They went downtown, boo, like down fucking town. Okay. You would think that maybe with the amount of people that were coming in, that the government would have stepped in and increased housing and the conditions of everything, but they didn't. You had 80,000 people in a very small area. So instead of the classes diversifying, you had a huge, huge underlying class of poverty, like poverty. 55% of children in the time died by the time that they were 5 years old. And the reason for this was that they were starving, they were homeless, they froze. And this is no joke. Their mothers were often single mothers. They had to make a living in any way they could. And they would either be working in the taverns as a bartender maid, or they would be a brothel girl, a prostitute. And they had to leave their children for long periods of time. These children would starve. They would freeze.
So it's nothing for them.
No. I mean, when you think about this and you watch movies of old, or they go back in time, right? You are literally looking at what was going on if they depict it properly, and that is poverty.
Just simply how things were back then.
In the worst conditions.
The worst.
Yeah. Robbery, violence, alcoholism, drug use was commonplace, and the endemic of poverty actually swelled the ranks of prostitution. London's Metropolitan Police Service claimed that there were 62 working brothels at that point in time in the East End alone.
Oh, wow.
There were a minimum
that was the biggest business going on.
There were a minimum of 1,200 women working the streets at any given time.
Wow. Oh, sex sells.
Sex sells.
That brings us to where we are right now.
It does. So there were other things going on. So there were these common houses, is what they were called. And there were rooms that were nun and like hostels. Those were 4 pence a night. And then they had common areas, and they had a rope going in between with a sheet. Those were called lean-tos or hangovers. That was literally where you had a bed, a rope with a sheet, and a bed, a rope with a sheet, and a bed, and it just continued on down the road. Those were
a smidge of privacy for the sexy time.
You know, ew, I didn't even think about that.
Right?
But right.
Yeah.
I wish I could control my face. But I can't.
We can't control our faces.
Anyway, so yeah, so there you have it with that. And those were called lean-tos or hangovers.
Not our kind of hangover.
Not our kind of hangover. I'll take our kind of hangover over
any
that
day.
hangover any day.
Any day.
So not only were the economic issues extreme, right? But they were accompanied by extreme civil unrest because you had such a large population of poverty-stricken individuals that they were doing demonstrations and riots and you know, speeches in the street and all of that. Well, oftentimes they were intervened by the police. Mm-hmm. And that led us to the actually very significant historical event in 1887 known as Bloody Sunday. If you don't know anything about Bloody Sunday, U2, the band U2, actually they actually do a song about this, and it's Sunday Bloody Sunday. This is a true event. This actually truly really happened. It's pretty horrible. Many people were killed in this event. If you don't know about it, educate yourself and go check it out. I'm not going to cover it today. So here you had all this civil unrest. You had poverty at the height. I mean, you had prostitution running. I mean, just rampant. It was a wild time, but it was a dirty wild time, and not in a fun way. So you have a little bit of a contradiction here. There are some people that believe there were 7 murders committed by Jack the Ripper. You have others that believe there were 7. And then you have others like myself who believe there were 20. Now, there are several witnesses throughout all of this who can come forward and say that they saw this same man throughout the entirety of all of these crimes. Okay. The first 2 cases were Emma Elizabeth Smith and Martha Tabram. Okay. These are believed to be his first 2 victims. Now, Emma Smith was robbed and raped. She had been bludgeoned about her face and received a cut to her ear, like around her ear, coming into her throat here. It does not, however, say which side. And that does make a difference, and I'll explain why that makes a difference. But so really, really graphic explanation here. There had been a blunt object that had been inserted into her private area. This is live, so there's things I got to be careful about. There was a blunt object that had been inserted into her private area, and it actually ruptured her peritoneum. Now, the peritoneum is a lining kind of sac that protects your guts. It's your abdominal cavity. It actually protects that whole area. and that had been ruptured.
Which is rough.
Well, and that's deep.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you that don't know, the maximum depth that a woman can take is anywhere between 12 and 14 inches. Okay. Now, this person did this so violently and so deep that he actually ruptured that peritoneum.
Dry and rough and just obviously not the greatest of
Now
circumstances.
Correct. You know. So she didn't die. Okay? She didn't die. She died the next day. She was in the hospital. The police came and interviewed her, and she told them that it was 2 to 3 men that did this to her, with possibly a teenager, and that she doesn't know what they looked like or anything like that. Now, could it be possible that this is true?
Possible. It's true. It definitely could be possible. It's true.
It's possible. You want to know why I don't believe it? The reason that I don't believe this is because most prostitutes never report the rape or attack of a single individual because they are never believed. A group
I don't
of
know.
people,
At that time, it wouldn't even matter if they are believed, because nowadays people would be believed most likely, even if they were a prostitute. But back in those days, prostitutes weren't even supposed to be a thing, even though they were the money makers on the planet.
Still in the 1800s, prostitutes were, I mean, everybody knew about prostitutes. It was an accepted thing.
It was a huge thing. So never would a woman.
It wasn't really until
be able to talk about being raped or be believed about rape.
No.
Still to this day, rape doesn't happen. It's fake.
A lot of women just don't.
Not real.
They don't report rape from one individual.
Oh, no.
They typically report rape from multiple individuals. And especially a woman who's working, a working girl.
Yes.
They almost never report a rape.
Oh, you're not allowed to be raped if you're a working girl back in those days. Well, and even now.
So there's something that we're going to cover, and it's in the 1970s in New York, and it kind of covers who we know as the torso killer, who is not the torso killer. So it's the different individual. There's 2 different guys, but the one guy in the 1970s that we're going to cover, I found a whole bunch of information about the women who were prostitutes in New York, and they are actually, there's police reports that it's called non-human. Prostitutes were known as non-human. Non-human. Yeah, it's actually like documented. So, yeah. Again, please, if you're here, leave a comment. I will do a shout out. Ask me your questions. This is a Q&A. I'm just kind of going over a story I just covered, which is Jack the Ripper. So women were actually known. Prostitutes were known as a non-human, and it was insane. Documented. And they never covered a case when they found a body of a woman who was a known working prostitute or raped or anything. It wasn't a thing. That didn't happen.
Well, because it didn't exist back then. But how would they know? Like, there was no news, you know?
So when it comes down to Emma, who was, I think, the very first victim of Jack, of course she wouldn't say that it was one individual that did this to her. At least in my opinion, and through the research that I've gone through,
because maybe it was more violent. So
I mean,
it was scarier for her.
Fuck yeah. So yeah, poor thing. You know, after she reported everything and she told him what happened, she actually ended up dying later. She got a major infection. She died.
Sepsis back then.
Yeah, she died that day.
Yeah, they didn't have anything that we have now.
No. And so then Martha is our second victim, and she was murdered on a staircase, receiving literally 30, and I don't laugh, this isn't funny, 39 stab wounds to her throat, lungs, heart, liver, spleen, stomach, and lower abdomen, with an additional knife wounds to her breasts and vagina.
So that just makes you understand on how this person was probably educated on where your major organs were, along with wanting to know vaginas. Like, oh, obvious
I
anatomy
think he
was
hated
something.
women, personally.
Hated women.
I think he hated women.
Major organs
I
with
think-
hating women.
I think maybe his mother was a prostitute, and that
That's a very good educated guess.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
I think his mother was probably a prostitute,
Right.
And he was exposed to a lot of activity.
Wow.
And that he grew up hating his mother for that. That's what I think. Again, I'm not an investigator.
What year again was? Remind me
Could
of
have
the
been,
year
but
that Jack the Ripper made his rounds.
well, the further that we get into this story, man, there's other little things here. So people want to say, well, why would you believe that these two, why would you
I was
say,
going to say, do we need a
little refill?
Covering up the...
I'm kind of surprised that we don't have more people here. Maybe we do, and I just don't know because I'm on a different streaming app today. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to act like we have tons of people here
So,
because
at what point are we going to change topics to talk about?
well, we're going to see if we gain any more and if we get any questions. And then if we don't, we'll just go into the questions that we do have and we'll cover them.
Yeah.
So, waiting a little bit longer. I'm a little surprised it might be because we're on a Saturday. I don't know. Do I need to do this during the week when there's more people on?
Is it really Saturday?
It is Saturday, right?
I don't know what day it is.
It's Saturday. Yeah, it's Saturday. Okay, so why do I believe that? I'll tell you why. Because there's a thing called modus operandi, and that is MO. Okay? Every single serial killer throughout history has this. Their MO. What is an MO? Do you know what an MO is?
It is basically is like your description of what you are.
It's your signature.
Your signature.
It's your signature. And every single signature for every single serial killer throughout time evolves.
Mm-hmm.
You start out with a sloppy mess, and then you go forward, and it becomes...
You get a tad bit better, but typically you have something that teaches you, too.
Like, every one of them. Yeah. I think every one of their murders teaches them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So back then in these times...
I like how we take a drink and we both go like this.
Yeah.
Even though we don't cheers.
Well, we're cheering.
We're cheering secretly in our minds.
We're cheering.
Like, why is that so important to us?
Because we're soul sisters. So, I mean, you think about all of this and you're like, oh, those probably weren't from him. I kind of think they were. I think they were the beginning of his own adventure, if we shall say.
So, what age do you think he was when he started doing his murders? Because that has a lot to do back to how his mom was.
I think he was 25 to 28 years old. Is what I think.
Do you think that there was any earlier murders or memories or anything that could have been back earlier? I'd say 14, teen. If you think
I think there were probably assaults.
God, that's just so interesting to think about when it comes to the dynamics of his mental state.
Well, if you look at other serial killers through time,
started with animals, probably.
Well, we'll take. I cover this also in my YouTube. So we'll start with Jeffrey Dahmer, for instance. Okay.
Yes,
I've done a lot of research.
I know a lot about Dahmer.
Okay, I know a lot about Dahmer. So, from a very, very young, we're talking 8 years old.
I think that's when it starts, because that's when you get to go on an adventure outside.
Well, he lived
explore and
he
get to
lived
know.
in the woods with his parents. He had an extensive
Outhouses.
backyard of,
Mhm.
let's say, childhood jungle of the forest.
Did you know
And-
that his mom, they had an outhouse area,
Yes.
and his mom came there to go check on him one day and found all these
His father as well.
extormy. What is it called? Like when you like do like the
Taxidermy.
taxidermy. There we go.
Yep.
Animals that he had
Yep.
killed on
Yep.
his own,
Yes.
and were hanging him
There-
outside.
He was practicing in taxidermy. He
Mhm.
had done what's called European mounts, which is where you get these the bone structure of an animal and you boil them down and mount them. That's
Mhm.
called the European mount. His parents had actually found an animal graveyard in their backyard.
Did you know too?
His
there was-
father knew.
When
His
is it?
father knew.
His I think it came from his father. That's where I'm coming from. Did you know that his sister was mounting on his little he shed, whatever the fuck you would call it?
He shed.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he actually was like stoning her because he was the sister was like unpounding on what he was doing, and he didn't want his sister to know what he was doing, so he
Oh.
like stoned her.
Oh.
But not like to death. He was just like throwing rocks
Oh,
at her.
yeah, get away.
So get away, get away, get away.
So,
like he knew what he was doing was
Oh,
bad.
no. He knew. So
Yeah.
if you take the very beginning, right, and you look at something like Dahmer, for instance, Dahmer started with animals at a very young age. He started at about 8 years old. And it was initially his father that found him. His mother found him out later, but she had schizophrenia, okay?
Mhm. So nobody believed her in the
Well,
ever,
no.
anyways.
And she had it very severely. So, I mean, like, how could you? Mark, maybe not at all, but many, there we go. Many serials have maternal issues of either
Yes.
being highly promiscuous or highly religious. Yes, boo.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
So, Mark, that's what we're
Yeah.
actually talking about when it comes down to Jack the Ripper, right? So, Jack killed. Okay. So, Jack killed presumably about 20 victims known. You have conflicting interests here that say it was 7, some say it was only 5. And this is why we're talking about like Dahmer right now, right? Because it goes back into like MO, the signature.
Another mother thing. It's
Yeah.
another mother,
So-
parental.
Yes. And
Mhm.
my thought personally,
Even though it's a couple 100 years apart.
no,
It's the same MO.
it is,
Mm-hmm.
but they all tend to go, I mean, especially when they're involved in sexual deviancy.
Mhm.
Okay. Animal cruelty, correct. Fire obsession, correct. Bedwetting, correct.
Bedwetting too,
Past
yes.
and accept. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're correct.
It's all signs.
Yes, they are. And so we'll hop away from Dahmer for a second. Let's come back to Jack.
Mhm.
So when he's killing these prostitutes, right? Correct, Mark. You're right. Yes, the MO, the right for each. So my thought here is that I'm going to get to the fat slob. Wow, that's a name. I'll get to you in a second, boo. My thought here is that my thought here is that Jack's mother was a prostitute. That's why I think that everything led to this progression.
You know, I kind of see like maybe she wasn't like a prostitute in the beginning, but I think that it was one thing that made her realize how she can provide.
No.
Like, she was trying to provide.
Every single woman
And
of
he
the
saw
time.
it.
No, every single woman of the time. This has been proven time and time again because of the amount of poverty that they were stuck into, that the only way to provide for their family was prostitution.
Could you imagine that
No.
life? That'd be
Okay,
horrible.
so Mark, I really appreciate your insight. Please keep it coming, boo.
I can't see what anybody's saying because I need
It's
some
right here.
goddamn
I know, you're fucking
glasses.
blind. Anyway,
Blind ass bitch.
who is here? This is Stevie. She is one of my very best friends. We've known each other for 12 years. Please Welcome.
It's nice to be here with y'all.
So the fat sloth. I'm really uncomfortable saying that. So,
Who's the fat sloth?
I have no idea. So 9 out of 10 serial killers are white males aged 20 to 35, correct? Mm-hmm. They are quite unassuming, even nice, correct? They held down jobs. They even made decent livings. Their victims just are correct. And the FBI estimates there are about 200. Actually, boo, it's 500. Mm-hmm. Cruising the victim. Yes. We have about 500 serial killers.
I actually lived about, well, I can't say lived, but 500 feet from the Green River Killer my whole entire childhood.
Right.
My mom always told me that, you know, Green River Killer could be right down the road from us. Yeah. And actually they were.
He really was.
He really was.
And right actually
that's the truth. That's a very truthful statement.
No, for real. That he will actually be someone that we're going to cover.
I have a lot to say about the Green River Killer.
Yeah, we'll cover him.
I literally lived with him.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't know I lived with him.
No, you know? We'll be covering him. You have to be here for that one.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We'll
I have, it's a huge part of my history of the Green River
Mark,
Killer.
You said, I thought you were about to say something about an MO morphing. I will. We're changing over time. I will. Okay, we'll get to that right now. And then, okay, thank you, Rob. I much prefer that. Thank you. I don't want to say the other thing. I don't like degrading anybody. So I really appreciate your name. Thank you, honey. Rob.
I can't see that far. What's going on?
500? Yes, 500. Correct. Okay, so Mark, getting back into that, right? So we'll just start with Jack. Okay, we're gonna just stay with Jack for the moment. So serial killers in general, but we'll stay with Jack. So these first two murders, right, were, I can't even say sloppy. They were just different, but they started in one manner and then continued and then morphed into what his actual signature was. And that is the case. Rob, you are correct at that point in time, but we ain't there anymore. And honest to say, I would say that we're probably higher. I bet there's about 800. Because the number of 500 serial killers was a couple of years ago. And we are in a very, very, very different time. And I could see that number actually rising per every 5 years. So they thought Bundy might be the Green River. Bundy was not.
No. That's a total different time frame.
No, he was at the same time frame.
Not exactly.
No, they were. The Green River Killer was
There were 70s and 80s and the 80s and 90s.
No, people don't realize that the Green River Killer and Bundy were.
They had two different huge ways of raping people and killing people.
No, they were, but the Green River Killer and Bundy were going on at the exact same time, and that's why they thought that they were happening, but they weren't. The Green River Killer was something.
I think there's an overlap of 5 years.
Yeah.
So Bundy obviously happened way before the Green River Killer actually
started before the Green River. Yes.
There's like a 5-year overlap.
I don't know if it was that amount of time. I think it was only by like 2 years.
I don't know.
Yeah. So when I bet there will be a COVID.
A what? A fucking COVID what?
Mark. Mark, I bet there will be a COVID serial killer due to social pressure increasing their frustration. You know what?
That's a good fucking point.
I don't think you're wrong.
That's a good point. I don't think you're wrong. I can definitely get behind that.
I can get behind that 100%.
Because like
high five.
My ass was when I had the COVID. Mm-hmm. I got pissed that I had to sit in my own goddamn bed. Imagine if I was a killer and I had COVID, and then you have to go and like have all that built up stuff.
So Mark, you asked me, do I think Jack mastered his craft?
No.
I do, actually. He was never caught.
It doesn't matter if he was caught or not.
Yes, it does.
It was the fucking, how long ago was that?
Doesn't matter. He came to the United States.
No.
Yes, he did.
I'm not saying he didn't come to the United
He
States.
did. He came to the United States, and he was
I'm not saying he didn't come to the United States, but did he ever master his craft?
Yes, he did.
Because we don't know what his...
He was never caught.
That was his thing. Like, you feel like he never realized that he was, like, he thought he wasn't going to be caught.
Thought he wasn't. He was never captured.
Well, maybe that was his point, like not wanting to get caught. But
so, okay, you have it's called the canonical five. You have the first two victims. Okay, let's just like put them aside for a minute. I say that they are his. That was the very beginning of his career as a serial killer. You have Marianne Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. Let me tell you, Mary Jane Kelly, if none of you have ever seen pictures of Mary Jane.
Was she?
I can't.
Gorge?
No, boo. No.
Ugh?
H.H. Holmes. Rob. Okay. I have different, there's different, oh my God, I think I have it. Mark, his MO became more skilled, less sloppy, became more patient and precise. Did he become more patient and precise? So let me run through this real quick with you. I'm just going to do like a boom, boom, boom. All right. You have Marianne Nichols. She was discovered at 3:40 a.m. on Friday, August 31st, 1880. All right. Her throat had been cut twice, severing all tissue down to her vertebrae. Her vagina had been stabbed twice. The lower part of her abdomen had been ripped open, causing her intestines to protrude out, and several other incisions to both sides of her abdomen had been cut. Okay. And then all of this was done in like a downward manner. And she was found within 45 minutes. Jack's, I'll get to Jack's, Rob. I'll get to Jack's last victim that we know of. I thought that's what you were saying. Oh, fuck. I need to edit my comments. No, don't edit. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So okay. So we have that, right? And then you have Annie Chapman. Annie Chapman was 1 week later, okay? She was found on Saturday, September 8th. She was discovered at 6 a.m., 30 minutes after she had last been seen. Okay? 30 minutes. Her throat had been severed in 2 cuts down to the vertebrae. Her abdomen had been entirely cut open with a section of flesh placed on her right shoulder and another section of flesh in her lower intestines placed above her right shoulder. Her uterus and part of her bladder and vagina had been completely removed. Completely removed. Like, hey, Johnny.
What's up, Johnny? Thanks for joining us.
That's my cousin. John. This is my cousin. John, this is
What's up, John? Nice to meet you.
This is actually my second live, honey. So I'm glad that you're here with me. That's cool as shit. Jack had surgical skill. Okay, so Rob.
That's what I was saying. Like,
okay.
He had to have had surgical skill.
Okay. Let's hold on a second. Let's get through some of this stuff. And then then let's all have this discussion, okay? Because there's some weird shit here. There's some weird shit, okay? So you have the Annie Chapman, and she had her uterus, her bladder, and her vagina, like literally like removed.
Professionally removed.
By removed, I mean not found. Keep this in mind.
Maybe he ate it.
You are my soul sister.
I think so too.
Okay, here
Dinner.
we go. And Elizabeth Long said that she had seen Annie at 5:30. I mean, we are talking 30 fucking minutes, folks. 30 minutes, okay? 30 minutes. She was found 30 minutes after she had last been seen with all of this done to her. Okay. Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes were found at the same night. The same fucking night. The same night. All right? They were found within 45 minutes of each other.
Back then, did they have the ability to know how long the bodies
Yes.
were deceased for?
They could tell how long, and it did take them time to find a cause of death. But in these two cases, it was nothing.
Literally 45 minutes.
They fucking knew.
Okay.
Now, Stride's body was discovered at 1 a.m. with a single cut across her throat, measuring 6 inches across the neck, which has been severed from left to right. So it severed her carotid artery, the trachea, and ending below her right jawline. No other mutilations of her body were found. Why? Because he was interrupted. He was interrupted. Several witnesses came forward and said that they had seen Stride with a man who matched earlier description. And that was a man wearing a deerskin hat, a dark overcoat, and a genteel presence. A softer man. Not a rough man, not a tall, dark, burly man.
He had ambiance to his soul. At least he expressed that to his victims, literally his victims.
Miss Eddowes, on the other hand, Rob. Jack used a Lister knife the same as he used. Kind of freaking me out, Rob, with that kind of knowledge, but possibly, yeah. I love this channel. I'll be right back. I'm going to change over to, okay, I'm going to be here. Well, we're going to be here, so I really have to come back. So several witnesses came back, and they were all like, there were a few conflicting, but that comes back to a bank robbery. And like, what did they look like? Well, he was 7 feet tall and bald, and he had an AK-47, and the other one says, no, he had a beard and green eyes, and the other one says, and then you have like 5 witnesses that say the same thing. Well, these motherfuckers were too scared. Does that make sense? And then all these people were like, no, this is what they look like, and they have the same description. Also, back in that time, people were afraid of being accused of being the killer. So they were like, I don't know. Does that make sense?
Not only think accused of being the killer, but accused of like seeing too much, because like they didn't know if the killer would come towards them, you know?
Perfect.
Like, why would you ever want to?
Perfect. Exactly. So Miss Eddowes, on the other hand, who was found 45 minutes after, Jesus Christ, after Miss Stride, I think, right? Is her name Stride? Annie? Yes. After Elizabeth Stride. So she was found 45 minutes later. Hi, Robbie. Glad you're here, baby. So Eddowes' throat was severed ear to ear. Like this. Her abdomen ripped open.
Not hard to do.
By a long, jagged wound before her intestines were removed and placed over her right shoulder, with a section of her intestines removed completely and placed between her body and her left arm. And then her left kidney, a major part of her uterus, was removed. Not found, removed.
It has to be
Her face had been massively mutilated, with her nose being completely severed. Her cheeks were slashed and cuts measuring 1/4 inch and a half, respectively, vertically incised through her eyelids, and triangular incisions at the apex pointing to her eye had been carved into her cheeks. And a section of her right ear was found in her clothing. Hold the fucking phone. Do you know anything about cheeking? Do you know what cheeking is?
No.
Okay.
I'm not a fucking killer.
Well, cheeking is actually something that you do in cuisine.
Oh, for like animals and stuff like that. Like, eat that fucking gross ass.
Eat the cheeks.
I'm not gonna eat your fucking cheeks. Not your cheeks, but like.
I hope you're not gonna eat my cheeks. So cheeking is
Definitely
actually
not.
like, so cheeking
That
comes
would
here,
be.
right? So cheeking comes here. So basically what this person did was cut here and here down. Cheeking is a delicacy. You eat the cheeks of animals. You eat the cheeks of fish mostly.
I still probably would not eat your face.
Well, I hope not.
But anybody's face, even a
Right.
fucking goddamn fish.
But here's the thing, though. It's a delicacy. And organs throughout history.
I guarantee you he was an organ eater.
I think he was eating people's organs. Well, I think he was eating these women's
Like, if
organs.
you look at my face, I mean, what would you think that you want to eat on my face? Like the most
Robert!
Hi,
Robert!
meatiest part. What would you want to eat off of her face? The most meatiest part. I mean, it'd be her
Probably my
cheekbones.
fucking cheeks.
You know, like, why would you want to?
You always... Robert. Hi, Robert. Thank you. And I don't know...
What does Robert have to say?
MWPC, if you would please leave me your name, but hi, boo. Who is this Lovelace? I don't like whoever this is. I'm not down with it.
Well, she needs to...
I'm going to block this user. I don't like this.
Mhm.
It's not... Okay, thank you.
It's obviously
Okay.
some dumbass bitch.
Bitch. Thank you. So, Mark. Oh, Mark. Well, hi. Hi, boo. That was the part. Oh, okay. We're going to Hannibal Lecter. Thank you. See?
So,
See?
I think that we need to move on to some of the topics of...
We will. This is eat his sister's. Well, actually, I mean, we could go into Hannibal Lecter, but I mean, like, Hannibal Lecter actually didn't kill his sister.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to eat his sister.
Yeah.
So that's a different conversation. But that's actually why he became a cannibal. Roberts, I was a fat slob. I charged over to my real account. Oh, Rob, got you. Okay. Cheeking. Correct. So we get to that point, right? Where we're like, they cut. So this was at the very beginning where I was just like, hold on. He cheeked her. He was trying to cheek her. And I was like, whoa. And then you go into all of these other accounts of these murders that happened. And it was just like, oh, delicacies. Because all organs throughout every single culture in history, every organs throughout, they're delicacies. The heart, the liver.
Oh, yeah,
the
definitely.
kidneys, they're all delicacies. And then you're talking about the cheeks. And I saw this and I was like, this motherfucker is eating these women.
I actually have a weird thing to say about this. The cheeks. Because I kind of have like higher cheekbones in a way. So I haven't been around tons of weird things or sexual things in my life. But there's this guy that I was probably like 19 years old. And he was obsessed.
With your face?
With my face and like biting my cheekbones.
That's like, just creepy.
So I had to do a little bit of corset Stevie action and just get some. I had to do a little bit of, what it takes to get someone out of your areas.
So, Mark, no, actually, his cheeking process started on the sixth victim.
Really?
Yeah.
Took that long? Was it like a facial thing, like the beauty?
Okay, no. Okay, hold on. Like, bear with me for a second. So not only had all of that stuff happen to her face, right? Her left kidney and a major part of her uterus was removed. All right. Then we get to her face. The police surgeon said, y'all, Mark. Okay. No, it was his sixth, 2, so 5. I'm sorry. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right?
Kindergarten.
Well, I have to think about the way that the murders are, because there's the canonical 5, and then there's the first 2, and all of these bear together. So she was his. Yeah, 5th victim. The police surgeon who conducted this said that it would take 5 fucking minutes to do this damage to her. Do you believe that? I've butchered an animal.
Do you know how long a 5-minute conversation can actually last for, though? Like, if you and I are talking and we have a 5-minute conversation,
But butchering something is completely different.
A long time.
I've killed an animal, and
we've all killed animals, but
so
when we're sitting there butchering something, it's a lot different.
I don't know.
Comparing the situations is phenomenal.
Then okay, Robert. So we're gonna get to Mary Jane, and then I want to hear opinions on this. Okay, so. Robert, you say the bottom line is you will never know. Correct. You encounter a serial killer until it's pointless even to try to profile someone you think you could be a serial. Well, you don't know me, boo.
What did he say?
It's pointless to ever try to profile someone you think could be a serial killer, according to a behavioral scientist. But they do every day, and well, you don't know me, do you? And you don't know what I do. I
think sometimes it's better to not be a scientist of knowing things and just like seeing the regular outcome on things. It's no holds bar. Like, we don't understand what they see, but don't we? We do at the same time. I feel like we do.
I think that there's a lot of us that actually
there doesn't need to be that much education behind it.
No. I think that at one point or another that everybody can actually relate, but you can also relate to the person trying to find them.
The relativeness too does not come, like, how can you become a serial killer? You don't have to become a serial killer.
I completely understand how somebody. No, I understand.
I'm saying what she's saying is, like, we don't have to become a serial killer. You can have one fucked up thing that happens to you, and you literally will hate people that are around you. Like, how would you describe it?
Robert says no one has ever said I knew he was a serial killer after.
Okay,
right.
So Audra, would you ever expect me to be a killer?
Do you want me to answer that? Really?
Yeah.
I think you could be, yeah.
Would you ever expect me to be a serial killer?
Yes. And you would expect me as well.
Actually, I wouldn't.
Really? Well, then I think I've got you duped, baby.
not a serial killer in the aspect of just doing it for fun.
No, well, not for fun, but I think that the thing here is that
If I wasn't
absolutely anybody could be. There are traumatic.
Absolutely anybody could be a
Yes.
serial killer.
Yes.
But I don't think that I could expect you to not get what you want from somebody and then kill them.
Well, I mean,
I've seen you.
You know me personally. I mean, you know that I'm not that
Yeah,
type of
that's
person.
true.
You know that I'm not that type of person.
But literally,
I
I
mean,
think that
I think that it's possible for absolutely anybody. There are levels of traumatic experiences that happen within the human psyche that
100%.
break you. They break you and they change you. And then when that happens, there's no telling that what could happen. And more, there are some people that are stronger. Yes, Mark,
right.
I agree. So Mark says, let's get back. I'm agreeing with Mark. So we're going to go back. Yeah. Okay, Mark, we're getting back. You're correct. Thank you for getting us back on track. So then we have Mary Jane Kelly. Okay. This is some shit. Okay. This is a hard one. She was by far the absolute most ravaged. They estimate there might be a lot more females that were serial killers, but women are. You, Robert, your lover, you're not wrong. I'm just gonna say that. Anyway, Mary Jane Kelly. So we're gonna come to a couple others, but when it comes to like the most ravaged, it's Mary Jane Kelly. Okay. She was found at 10:45 a.m. on a Friday, November 8th, 1888. She was completely disemboweled. Her face had been hacked beyond recognition, meaning she had no face left. Nothing. She had no face. Nothing was left. Her throat had been severed down to the bone. Her abdomen had been emptied of all of its organs. Her uterus, kidneys, and one breast were placed under her head like a pillow. Other viscera placed by her foot with other sections of her abdomen and thighs, literally.
Do you think that she hears
her soul?
Us still speaking about what she went through right now? Who do you think is
because she's never been brought to justice?
Yeah. Who do you think is listening to
her
story?
In a part, yeah, I do.
Right now.
In a part, yes, I do.
Do you feel like she deserves to have a certain
level of justice? Absolutely, I fucking do.
Love of justice, not level of justice.
Yeah, I do.
Like, she is wondering. That's what needs to be recognized, is this soul.
I'm not.
I know you're not recognizing.
You know me on that.
I'm just wondering, as I'm listening to you speak about what she's probably searching for.
I hope so. And I hope one day it gets answered. I really do. Her heart, however, was completely missing from the scene. And this leads me back to my original question in my own mind, is whether he was eating the organs.
He was.
So let me get Robert. They estimate they might be a lot more females. Okay, yeah, we already covered that. Yes, I actually do. I feel that. I mean, like doing the research that I've done in all of this, do I feel a connection to everybody that I have found, especially like when it comes down to coming to these serial murders and stuff like that? Absolutely. I do.
Yeah, like
And you
the
know
certain
me.
ones.
You know me.
And that's why I know to bring that kind of stuff up, because it's like concerning. Like I know, like our hearts hurt. We have horrible hearts when it comes.
So ashes were found in her apartment room, suggesting that the murderer had used several combustible components that like literally illuminated the room that she was murdering, because what happened to her took some time. I mean, like time. This wasn't like a few minutes. It wasn't. I mean, what he did to her literally took more time than it took anybody else. Now, coming into the realms of a serial killer, this leads me to believe this was his first intended victim. Because this was
intended victim, yes.
Yeah. This was the most brutality. This was the most like absolutely just like fucking horrendous, ravaged woman.
Making sure that it was like a staple.
It was horrible. I mean, everything he did. I mean, the ashes found in the hearth suggesting her murder used multiple combustibles to illuminate the room was so fucking hot that it melted the cast iron soldering between the spout and the body of the kettle. It melted it completely.
Wow.
Yes. So, excuse me, he took time with her. The time that he didn't take with anybody else.
Do you almost wonder if that time was love or like recognition for his mother?
No.
Or
what was it? She may have been the closest to his mother, maybe. But
like looking wise, or
I feel like she was the main fucking target. And then everything else was leading up to her. Mm-hmm. And then everything else that happened after her was just like progression of his illness.
Anger.
Yes.
Illness.
Okay. See?
You know?
Like, truth.
Like, if you had a piece of shit parent and you keep seeing stuff that multiplies, it's going to be more anger here. You know?
I don't fucking doubt that at all. At all. So, I mean, like, you have that. Hey, Johnny. Let me come up to Robert. Let's see. Kachu John. The butcher had to have had either literal butcher skills or medical. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. And then, how did you become interested in serial murderers, Robert?
Why would you not
you know a lot more details about them than most people I talk to. Okay, I'll answer that in a second. And then Johnny, this channel is about the history of sex. Prostitution is part of that, and serial killers are part of that. Okay, so John's my cousin. So everybody say hi to John.
Hi, John. Again.
Right. So John, getting into your two-part thing. We're going to cover that in a second, and then my opinions on that. Okay. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second, because I'm going to cover a few things, and then we can all kind of collaborate on that together. And then yes. What?
Oh, nothing. I was just gonna hear her.
Well, I love you too.
I'm just giving you a hug.
See, one of my best friends. And then Robert, how did you become interested in serial murders? Well, since I was like knee high to a bug's eye, Robert. I mean, how could I not? Okay, backstory. A little bit of backstory. So I grew up in law enforcement. I have an extensive law enforcement background. And this this tickles my fancy. There are many things like we're talking about in my channel is the secrets of sex.
Curiosity.
Yeah. You know, the secrets of sex deals with actual the true history of sex in itself. If you know, and you are following my channel, and my channel is getting better as we go along. I know it started out as horrible, but I'm 40.
We have a lot of things to do that we have a lot of ideas.
Like, but first of all, I'm 40 years old. I'm learning all of this as I go along, and I'm just trying to get better and better as I go along, and my channel will get better and better as I go along. So just fucking bear with me. Hopefully pretty soon I will have a podcast, and I will actually be doing more interviews with people. I do know a lot of people in various avenues of life. Let me put it that way. I know people in various avenues of life that will make things even more interesting than they already are, and will possibly answer more questions.
We also want to know what you guys have to say. Like, we want to know what your feedback is on what do you guys want to hear about from us? Like, you know, like we're only coming up with our own topics of.
I mean, today especially, like normally the secrets of sex table talk, which are my lives, is the table talk is what I want to know what you want to talk about. So
let's hear what you guys have to say. We have a couple topics.
Robert, correct. I have, yeah. That was my life. I grew up share time. We're stepping away from Jack for a second.
I can share tons of stuff. Well, do we need to close the goddamn file?
No, not yet, because Mark, I know that Mark wants us to go back to where we were, and we will. So we'll close out we don't have too much longer to finish out, but we will finish out Jack the Ripper, and then we'll go into Q&A. Yeah, Mark, I know, boo. So, okay. John, hang in, and Robert, please hang in, and let's finish out this talk because we do have that interest in Jack. So let's finish Jack. So after the canonical 5, we had 13 other victims. Okay, so you had 2 victims that we started with, and then the canonical 5, that's 7, and then we had 13 more victims. All right. And they were particularly violent. We had one of a female that was found with only her torso, no head, no arms, no legs. She was never identified. The other one was I don't even know if you could call her a torso, because she was found with no head and no arms, but legs. And again, it is seen that Jack had been interrupted. There was another woman who was a dressmaker, and she had just been slit from ear to ear. And it is said that the only reason that he killed her was because that she found and interrupted his murder. And then there was another victim, which is fucking horrible. And her body was discovered over a course of this motherfucker right here. We're blocking. No, sorry guys. I have this person or advertiser I'm blocking because I don't know them and I am not saying yes to. Anyway, we had another body torso that was found. The head was never discovered. And parts of her body had been discovered in the river over a course of 3 weeks. She was never identified, as was the first torso and then the second. So there are 3 victims from Jack, in my opinion, who have never been discovered. Now, here's where people are coming into the line of controversy. There
I
was a
don't think
body.
there's any conflict.
Well, okay, there was a 7-year-old boy who was found horribly mutilated, as some of the women were. A 7-year-old boy.
The only thing I've heard from anything of Jack the Ripper that was controversy was he interacted a rape. His colleagues,
He didn't ever rape anybody. His rape was the insertion of the knife.
he interacted. He saw that a girl was being raped.
Oh, that, yes.
He interacted.
But that's never been confirmed. I mean, we can't, I mean, like, I would like to add it, but we can't, because every single victim of Jack was, well, every victim was a woman, except for this one, and that's the 7-year-old boy. Now, I won't even go into detail, because first of all, it deals with a child, and I can't and won't and refuse.
This, in my certain thing that I've seen, that I've heard and read, that's different from what you're saying, is he saw a prostitute being raped, and he murdered the men that raped him, that raped the girl.
I could see that being a case.
You know, that is a different aspect on things too. Like, that could have been like a thing. Like, maybe he watched his mom being raped.
Yes.
And that enlightened him, and he saw this woman being raped, and it stirs a pot in his goddamn soul.
But that was like during the middle. So that was during the middle of the controversy of Jack the Ripper. Now, these last murders were about 1889, and then you have, check it out, 1891, April. Carrie Brown was found mutilated with a knife. She had a large tear through her groin and cuts to her legs and back, with an ovary found on the bed.
See, that brings back to the perspective of
where was this found? Do you know where this was found?
No, I don't know where it was found.
This was found in New York motherfucking City.
But it brings back, he had to have known what he was doing.
Okay. This was found in New York City. Okay. The New York Metropolitan Police saw the similarities, but dismissed the fact that this could be Jack. Over 300 people in total were interrogated. 80 people were retained, but nothing ever seemed to pan out. Butchers, slaughterers, surgeons, and physicians, as well as cattle drovers, were all suspected. All right? But every single lead and interview proved absolutely fruitless. One very interesting tidbit here is that none of the victims were ever sexually assaulted except for the first. Just the first. Just her. So I then come back to the question, when it comes down to it, was genital, yeah. The boy, was he, oh, I really don't want to say. It's really horrible. Mark, can you just, like, take an educated guess without me saying so?
What?
Do I have to say so? Can you take a guess? Please. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. So they've done every, I mean, like, Scotland Yard did everything. the drovers. Like the drovers came in on a Thursday. So drovers, I don't know if any of you know what a drover is. They're cattle. They came in on a Thursday. They left on a Sunday. All of the murders happened on a Friday, Saturday. But every single murder, they could never connect to any single drover. It never connected to any single one. Psychologists through the time have inserted their opinion because Jack has never been found. He's never been found out. Nobody knows who Jack is. Like to this day, we're talking 100 years late. Oh, well, fucking over.
Hundreds of years.
It was 1888, and this is 2022. For fuck's sake, nobody to this day actually has a verification of who Jack the Ripper is. Everyone says, or especially psychologists say, that the insertion of a knife was his sexual aspect. And then there is, I could give it to you, I think, because I have done, I mean, like, really, truly. Oh, okay. So here is the other aspect. All right. Yeah. Okay. So here is the other aspect, right? Is that people were like, oh, it was never streetwalkers. It was never prostitutes. It was never anything like that. Well, that's not true. We can actually debunk that right now. Some of them absolutely were. Some of them might not have been. And here's why. Because in the time, if you couldn't get a 4-pence room or even a 2-pence room, where were you sleeping?
I would not be sleeping anywhere but less than what you just said. So I want to know.
Where would you be sleeping?
Alleyways. My home.
You don't have a home. You're in poverty.
Nowhere.
Would you just be walking all night?
Alleyways.
And sleep in the day?
Alleyways.
That's where some of these women were found.
Mm-hmm.
So, the theory here is that because absolutely no woman ever had a defensive wound. Okay. And if somebody is coming at you,
you would make sure that you were.
Okay, you see that.
Like,
if somebody's coming at you with a knife, there's going to be defensive wounds, right? No. Nobody had a defensive wound. Nobody.
I mean.
So it leads me to believe two things.
They allowed it to happen.
Well,
because they didn't think it was going to happen. They never thought that anybody would hurt them.
Here's the thing. It happened in one of two ways. Either they were a prostitute and he got them into a very, very vulnerable position, and that is where the woman is laying down, because every single victim had this from here to here. It was never any other way. It was not her standing. It wasn't anything. It was always like this across her throat. What does that tell you?
Defending yourself.
No.
What do you mean?
Okay. Every victim was like this. Boom. So that tells me that
like a sexual position.
Yes. She was either in a sexual position and very, very vulnerable and didn't have a choice. And he was over her and went like this from here to here.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Like,
or she was asleep.
If I was to be like, Oh, baby. You know, oh, I love it. Yeah, it's gonna be. You're gonna.
No, you're
That's
gonna
the
be
last
down
thing
on
you're
you're
gonna
gonna
see.
be down on your back, and I'm gonna be over you, getting in
Yes.
between your legs, and then zap.
Last thing you know.
You don't even know.
Like I
Because-
can come up behind you.
Yes. Because
And
if you come up
I
behind
could be
me,
like, oh hey, can I buy you a
oh,
drink?
can you buy me a drink? It would be from right to left. It would be from right to left. And it wasn't.
And I
It
can
was-
easily do that to you right this second.
Yes. But it was always
Easily.
left to right. It was never right to left.
Yeah. Like why would you be like? It's opposite with the
Well,
camera.
from here it would be here to here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was always Robert.
That's bitch.
Thank you. Not all psychopaths have childhood disturbances associated with rape and murder. Some are just top of the. You know what, Robert? You're not wrong.
We need to come up with some different topics tonight.
Well, we're only covering like Jack right now. We'll cover our questions here in a minute. We're just finishing what we got to. So sit down.
I know,
So-
but I'm getting antsy. I've been sitting down for too long.
Okay, you gotta go to the bathroom. Go. So.
I don't have to piss yet.
So, I mean, like you have that between her legs, she is ready for you, and then it came this way. The other determination was that they were asleep. They didn't even know it was coming. And that was a main thing for Mary Jane Kelly, is that she was completely asleep, possibly drunk, because drug use, alcoholism was a big thing at the time, and she had no idea what even happened to her. She wasn't awake. She was never aware. And that he snuck into her room and he came over her and poof, and that was it. And that has been a big thing throughout the evolution of time and figuring out the disturbances of what have happened here, is that maybe some of these women weren't working girls. They just didn't have enough money and they were sleeping on the streets.
And that's what I was saying earlier today is I really do believe that as a human being, you're going to do it, whatever you have to do. But that makes so much sense when the way that you say it is it's just lost. Like they probably didn't know what they were getting themselves into, you know?
Well, and then it came down to like they just wanted the whole mystery of Jack to be done. So it was like that's just be done, which has happened in
So they knew that he was in the area.
Well, yeah. Well, so the murders in Whitechapel ended, and then 2 others happened in New York City, and that was Carrie Brown and one other. And there were people who throughout time, I mean, for years were hunting Jack the Ripper in New York City. And he was a hunted man in New York because that's where he supposedly landed. And there is a case still to this day that has never been solved and revolves around who Jack the Ripper was and that. And there is a man. I'm going to close this right now. So there is a man, if you want to look on Netflix, there is a man on Netflix who claims that Jack the Ripper is his uncle? His
really?
uncle. His uncle, his great uncle, his grandpa, somebody. But if you want to go to Netflix and check out the story, it's horribly interesting. It's viable. It could possibly be true. I mean, like, I can see it being the case. So, I mean, like, that's the case of Jack. And yeah, so I mean, like, if you want to watch my whole YouTube channel, I know that some of you have, probably Mark and Robert have. You'll agree with me on that. So at this point, we're going to go to our questions, our Q&A. And especially since we're so far in, we're going to go into our Q&A. John, if you're here, please go forward and ask questions. We have some other questions that have come. I think that's, yes. Okay, we do.
We're unlocking the secrets of sex.
We are.
We can't do this without you guys. I mean, we actually can do it without you guys.
I mean, we could, but it's not as fun.
But it's not as fun. So come at us. Like, what do you have to say?
I have 11 questions right now that I'm happy to answer, but I would much rather answer your questions first. So, until you come through with a couple of questions, I'm going to answer what has been asked to me first. And the first question I have from a fan, and I talk to him rather daily. I'm not going to give his name. He's requested that I don't. And this is the first question. And it's this. Oh God.
Is it that one?
We don't have, wait. No. Oh, we don't have it. So anyway, we don't have it down on our yeah.
Snorting.
That was a snort. So I expect Mark, Robert, and John. Sir, you better ask me some questions. I have a question right now, and that is, what is the best sexual position for a short peener man?
I particularly cannot answer that question. I literally
Be honest.
have not had sex with very many people. But if I was to encounter this thing, it would be to just get on top and take control. That is who I am. I'm a controller. So I'm like, how much can you just take it off? You know, take control, get on top, take control, and just fucking wring that goddamn neck. What the fuck else can you do? You know?
You've never had a small man?
I am fucking 40-something years old, and I've only had sex with like 4 people. So, yeah. That's what you have to do. You just fucking, and I don't know, like, never had sex with a fucking small dick man. Like, that's a song, right? Small dick man. I don't want no short man. I haven't had that experience my whole entire life, even though I'm old. But just gotta fucking hop on that shit and fucking ride it like a goddamn maniac cowboy. That's the only thing I can say.
Okay. So I'm going to answer 2 questions at the same time. Mark. I know you are. I'm sure.
You don't know I am.
Well, I don't know, but
you can only possibly imagine.
I can imagine. Mark. Okay, I'm gonna answer 2. I'm gonna answer 2 questions at once. I'm gonna answer the other question, and then I'm gonna answer your.
My vagina vision is a lot better than my eye vision. So whatever the hell you're saying on there.
Did I not tell you she has no filter?
Not going on to reading about what you're saying.
Okay, so the first question from a fan that asked that question, what is the best sexual position for a man with a short peener?
Riding that shit into dawn.
Into dawn.
How would you?
I'm trying to think.
Writing it. Like,
I'm thinking.
Like, you have to be like.
Did you just do that?
And you need like a little bit of neck and like head and like all that
see,
kind of...
she got real with it.
That's how you do it if they have it. I mean, I don't know.
John, I know the sex part of the channel sells more, but so does serial killers. So just more fun than the other. Like, okay, John. Okay, ask me a question, whatever question you want. It doesn't matter what it's based on. Just ask me a question. I'll answer it. It doesn't have to be sexual. Okay.
What did he ask you?
My cousin, he is making a statement, and I am agreeing, and you're correct.
I just gotta chill.
Netflix and chill for a second. Okay, so Mark, he came to the USA thinking he could leave his, no, he did not. So look for serial killers in the West, in Chicago. What do you think? When are you going to do an episode on legal prostitution? Ooh, well, okay. I have multiple questions that I need to answer. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Let me answer the question from a fan that I can't name. Okay. So number one is the position for a short peener. I think it's called side scissor.
Oh yeah.
See, she didn't think about that. I'm gonna call it side scissor. I think that's gonna be the absolute position for a short peener.
Yeah, I would say side scissor. Mine plus just I'm super flexible. Like I don't like
I'm pretty.
I'm very limber, so you just gotta lay it and get some spreading going on, and I have that action, and my body should be like.
I think side scissor, to be perfectly honest. So
I've been fucked. Oh my god,
do it.
I have literally been fucked side scissor totally tens of thousands.
She's also been with the same man for like
20 years.
Okay.
I'm married, and he doesn't have a small wiener, but I like that position.
Side, I would
like that
say.
And also that when you can just like sit on it and like allow your fucking body to like be like going on it, that is like the main fucking thing. Like touch my uterus, bitch. Like yes, like control your own sexuality. Like why would you ever allow anybody else to like do that for you? Like control it for yourself. Like I've been spitted, like talking about it, like just sit on it. Like squat. Like squat.
Okay. Okay. We got it. Right? That was
squat.
That was an answer. And side scissor.
Yeah, that's definitely how
that's where we are.
Deep.
Gonna get me deleted. So okay.
Not deleted.
Yes.
We're talking about deep.
Deep.
Ooh. Sorry, I like.
So that would be number one, and then just like the side scissor, like the side, totally. Yeah, leg underneath, over, and then leg wrapped around. Like okay, yeah. Okay, we have that.
How we do it?
All right. Wow. Okay. Robert, you said, what about Jack being one of the Scotland Yard's finest? Do what you gotta do. What do I think? That does not mean dropping your phone on the floor. Real life, folks. Real life. Good? Okay. Boy, there are questions that have been gone throughout the ages. Was this a...
Okay.
Thank you. Was this part of the royal family? Was this a part of the royal guard? Was this part of many different avenues? Could it have been, and this is why that the prosecution and investigations never went any further? Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, are we kidding? Yeah, that could have been a case. You know, I mean, I don't disagree this at all. Not at all. And they went through times in like butcher, drover, surgeon, many other things, right? Like, it could have been so many things. It could have been just a fucking sicko that wanted their organs and to eat them. I mean, come on. You go through many of the murders, and if you want to be like investigational, right? If you want to be investigational, like you look at what happened, and there's organs and vital organs missing from many of these victims. And where did they go? What happened? They were never recovered. It leads me to two topics. Were they preserved or were they eaten? And that leads us back to the victim that had the cuts in her cheeks. That's cheeking. That's for eating. Come on, meow. Come on. Come on. Catch up with me. Catch up. I'm sorry. He came to. I gotta hold on 1 second. Maybe drunk. Okay. Oh wait. Apparently, I have to scroll up. I missed some shit. Okay. So Mark, and then Robert. Not all psychopaths have children. We covered that. I got theories for Jack. What? I can't see that. What do you think of this theory? Jack were not prostitutes, maybe drunk, but definitely asleep. The throat cut means to silence. The sexual organs removal signifies metaphor. Active abortion. His mother hated men, perhaps, wished he was a girl. Said that during a drunk rant that explains his Gentile. Okay, Mark, you're not wrong, boo. You're not wrong. The boy represents himself. Man, I don't think you're wrong. I mean, like, I will say that as it comes down to every single serial killer so far in history and depiction, seriously, right now. Sorry. Boy, okay. It's a possibility. It's a possibility as it goes through history with every single male serial killer. Most so far, every single depiction of their mother in revolving around a sexual adaptation. So, like, yes and no. That's so hard to say. Like, is there a serial killer that has happened that has not had a brain injury? A sexual what's the word I'm looking for here? A sexual I swear to God, like my brain is not working. a sexual deviance happened to them. Do you know what I'm saying right now? Like, Mark, you said he came to the U.S. thinking he could leave his past, so look for killers. I've already looked for killers, such as Chicago, but no, I think he actually did stay in. I think that Jack actually stayed in New York and he committed 2 to 4 murders afterwards. And then after that, I think he went back to Europe and he was never discovered. And there actually is there's a Netflix series based on this. And if you haven't watched it, you need to watch the Jack the Ripper. There's several Rippers and Rippers. There's one that was in the 70s that goes into a detail of what happened to a couple of prostitutes that were murdered that don't deal with this Jack the Ripper. No. Let me find it and I will post the link for that. Yeah. I'll post the link for that because it's very fucking interesting. Cousin, thank you. Scotland Yard's finest. Robert, when you say Scotland Yard's finest, let me put some things into perspective if you've never been in law enforcement. Even back in the day, there was this thing, and it was just like, let's just get it through. Let's just do it, right? And then you have this case that comes through, and it is the ultimate. It's like the final, like everybody's talking about it all of the time. Like, this is the case. This is the case. This is the case. There's no other case. There's no other people dying. There's no other way. I mean, right? Like, this is it. All they wanted was for this case to end. That's all they wanted. And it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right. Oh, some shit has just happened. I don't even know what happened. I gotta go through my messages. Robert or Mark, yes, I answered you. Correct. We went through that. Active abortion, his mother. Right. The boy, correct. Okay. He came to the United States. I believe he did come to the United States. We have 2 murders that were confirmed that say so. What do you think about BDSM? Mark asked. I love 2 women drinking. I'm sorry. That was a little bit more than I was expecting. So, okay, Mark, you need to elaborate, please, on what you mean by that. Oh, John. Okay. Okay. Boo. Well, there is a happy medium. Well, here we go. Here we go. We're getting into some shit. There is a happy medium on penis size because I have been told that if they're too big, they hurt, and if they're too small, they couldn't fit.
See, okay.
Well, wait. Let's go through the rest of this. Side scissor, like to it. Okay. Deviance, Mark. Majority of serial killers have small wieners. Who says? Who says? Who says that? How do we know that's true? We don't know that's true. I'm going to cut that down right now. We don't know that's true. We don't know that.
I mean, you can.
They could. They were, but just be that. No, we don't know that.
That's getting off topic. In a way.
They might, but it might just be self-esteem. Okay. A lot of men have a self-esteem issue with women. Now, just because they can't get hard with women doesn't mean they have a small penis. Okay. I'm going to say that right after
I don't know.
that.
There's so many topics that I wanted to touch on today that we just didn't even get to.
Well, it doesn't mean we're not going to get to. Just because it doesn't mean anything. We have 30 minutes. 30 fucking minutes, folks. We can get into a lot. That doesn't mean anything.
What do you guys want to talk about? Like, I have a lot to talk about. I had a huge list.
I gotta go in. Okay, BDSM.
What do you want to know about? What do you guys want to know about us? Like, what is your question? Like, if you had any question you would ever want to ask me, what would it be?
Majority of, okay. I don't think that's true, Robert. I don't think that's true. Doesn't mean it's not true, but.
You got 5 fucking seconds. If you had one question to ask me, what do you want to ask me?
When did spiritualism take shape? Seems like same era, maybe. Okay.
I think spiritual
psychic
actually takes space.
Think about that before you answer it. Think about it before you answer it. Think about it before you answer it.
I think it was actually accepted to talk about when other people have already voiced it. And I have a lot to say about spiritualism in voicing it, how we're actually able to talk about it now because it's our life. It's who we are. It's dreams. It's who we want to be. It's who our life is. What do you have to say on that?
John, explain, please. Give me a better explanation of what you are talking about, please.
You're realizing you're talking to 2 strong-ass independent women, and
John is my cousin. John is my cousin, so I want to know.
I understand that.
Exactly what he's talking about. John, explain to me exactly what you're talking about, and I will answer you.
God damn, you finished your fucking whiskey before I finished my whiskey.
Shit.
God damn, bitch. Not bitch. Like, I feel so bad for saying it.
I'm a whiskey roll.
I know, but I feel like nobody.
No, shut up.
I know. I still feel no.
Oh, well,
I just feel bad when I say that. I'm like, why do I have to call somebody a bitch?
Well,
but it's a bitch.
We have a thing. Okay, so let me scroll up a little bit here. Let me scroll up a little bit here. Okay, so we have Mark, you have really good questions, Mark. Let me.
How many viewers do we have tonight?
Well, it doesn't really matter because we could have more viewers than that says. So I'm not too much worried about it. I don't really care. Okay, and then Robert. Not all psychopaths are childhood disturbances associated with rape or murder. Some are just top of the human food chain and
not all, yes.
No.
I agree with that.
No. Look at what he says here.
I can't spit fucking far.
It says
Where's your
that
glasses?
not all psychopaths have childhood disturbances associated with rape or murder. Some are just top of the fucking human food chain.
I can't even sit far
and
away.
Enjoy killing. Now,
would you ever...
Robert, let's get to this conversation. Or I mean, we're not even getting to questions that people have for us for sexuality. So we're getting into some deeper shit. So let me answer you right now, Robert. Do I think that not all? Okay, we'll go into that part of your question. I personally think that there are people who are born bad.
Oh, definitely. 150%. Okay, I can tell you a story. I was 9 years old, and there was this kid that I babysat when I was 9 years old. I was babysitting him, and he was 6 years old. And he literally tried to cut my head off with a rusty ass saw. And I asked him, why do you want to kill me? And he said, because I just saw a rusty saw. And that made me want to kill you.
Well.
So there's some people on this planet that are just born bad.
And I absolutely believe that there are people that are just...
That was his answer.
Yeah, no.
That was me as a child asking somebody what they were trying to kill me for.
Oh, I have some questions in extreme. Oh, I need to go back a little bit. Okay.
People are just born bad sometimes.
And I
think it comes from moms. I do.
Okay. Yeah, see, we have that going on right now. Let me tell you. I think
I think it's DNA too. Like I have so many different dots on it.
Okay.
Tell me you.
I think
I'm listening.
Some people are just bad.
100%.
I don't think it has to do with genetics or DNA.
100%.
I think they are just
born bad.
They just are.
Yes,
that is
I agree with that.
Just them.
I do agree with you.
They just are.
Yes, I do agree.
It doesn't have to do with their mama.
No.
Their granddaddy. No. Their great grandma.
No.
Their great great. I don't think it has anything. I just think they are.
They are born that way.
I just think that some people are born.
I agree with you. 150 fucking %. I agree with you.
I just think that's the way they are.
No, I agree.
Now, I think there is a thing of I'm gonna get a backlash off of this. Okay. I'm gonna get a backlash. Nurture versus nature.
Do you understand that you have nurtured my life?
I hope so.
I have nurtured your life.
I hope so.
I have nurtured your daughter's life.
What the fuck? Keep going, please.
You have nurtured my daughter's life.
I hope so.
Love will always.
Keep going. I hope so.
What is the word? Stop pain. If you are willing to listen to and hear and distribute other people's experiences and pain, and even if those experiences are horrible, they should still outlast, in my opinion. What do you think? Do you think with our experiences with our daughters, would it ever stop you from doing something, or?
No.
I don't think so either.
No.
I don't think so either, because opinions are horrible.
No. Not with our children. You and I have had too much experience with each other in growing as individual adults.
What I'm asking
No. Listen. We have grown too much as individual adults and grown together in many ways. And you have listened to me in too many ways that it have impacted your life in a positive manner. Why would I ever not listen to those for you who have impacted me in a positive manner?
So what you're saying is like you're only listening to the things that you said to me, not what I've said to you.
Both.
Okay. So you're hearing things.
Yeah. No, it's not one way.
Okay. That's what you made it sound like.
No,
so
no, it's not one way.
I was like, what are you talking about, one?
No, it's not one way.
I think we need to cut off this live and go have some smoky smokes.
See, I'm sorry. Something just happened in my comments. I don't know what just happened. John, what do you think that the most important thing about, what's the most important thing about sex? Let me try to get back to my camera I don't know what just happened.
The most important thing about sex?
Yeah.
I think
he just said something else. So what's the most important thing about sex?
I've never had sex with you. But
no,
I can look at you.
No, we haven't, but we're not talking about you and me.
I know.
We're talking about sex in general.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, no, you're not my partner. You're my partner in life. Absolutely.
Listen to me.
No, don't tell me. Tell them.
The most important, I'm using you as an example.
Okay.
The most important thing that I can think about sex would just be caring about somebody and just like looking at somebody and just loving them and having contact with them and just feeling them and loving them
Connection.
And allowing the connection between them.
I agree.
And just feeling that kind of stuff. And I'm not doing sex to nobody today.
No.
But I'm just saying that's what I would think the number one thing would be, is just having that kind of stability and lovingness and heartfeltness. That is the number one thing about loving somebody, is being,
I would agree,
so not afraid of what they feel like. Like, okay, one of my main things, I'm fat right now, is like
fat. She's not fat. I'm
a little bit fat right now. But
What the
like
fuck just happened?
Audra would never like if she was like even though she's not my partner, she would never like feel me in my body and be like, "Oh, you're a fat ass bitch."
No,
And I'm a little bit fat right now because I got
she's not.
the COVID and I had no exercise or
Shut
nothing.
Okay.
So I'm a little bit fat and my jeans didn't fit me. So I'm sitting down all day.
I don't know what just happened with my fucking screen, but
I feel bad.
Mark, did you mute? No, I didn't. I don't mute anybody. I don't mute people. Just FYI, I don't do that. Gonna turn into oh, promo. No. Fuck no. I don't do promo like no.
What are you talking about?
All right. Why don't you explain?
Oh, he wants boobs.
I'm not no. Absolutely not.
Joking.
No. I don't know what just happened to my comments. I would really like to see what the actual fuck just happened to my...
Turn it off.
Well, hold on. What is this? I'm going to go back to this. This motherfucker. I don't know who this person is, but whoever Lovelace.xyz is, they're not mine. Go ahead.
Turn it off.
Do whatever you gotta do. I'll be there in a second. They're not mine. That's not my shit. Just FYI. Okay. Yeah. That person's not mine. Just fucking block those motherfuckers. I blocked them like 3 times already. Yeah. I can't. So, anyway. Yeah, Mark, I'm sorry. Like, fucking block them. Report them. Whatever. They're not mine. See, now I have to come up. Yeah. Yeah. This is bullshit. Sorry. Block user. I blocked them like 100 times already. Okay. Why do... Hold on a second. Whoa. Sorry. Let me come in too. Oh. Thank you. Stop. Okay. Wow. I'm sorry. I'm looking through a few. Deviants. Oh, Mark, I love you. You're great. Boy, there's a whole bunch into spiritualism. We'll cover all of that into further lives, and then trauma, correct? Let me see if there's anything I can answer right now. Sorry. Multiple person. Oh, wow. Okay, multiple personalities. They do tend to function higher. And nobody took them seriously until about the 90s. So could that have been a case? Yeah, it could have. Oh, God, Mark, you're dark. You go into shit, and I appreciate it. Boy, we got a lot to cover. Maybe I should go. Wow. Okay. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe we should go live next week because no, I didn't mute Robert. So I don't know what happened there. I'm sorry. I'm going through questions right now. Okay. So how about Wednesday? Can you do Wednesday?
What time?
What time is good for you?
Like 5, probably.
All right. So I think what's going to happen is that we're going to go live on Wednesday of this week because a lot of questions have not been answered, and I'm confused in a few different areas. Okay. So that's what's going to happen. We're going to go live on Wednesday of this week, and we're not going to go into any questions. We're just going to answer what you want to know, because right now we have some questions that we need to answer. And unfortunately, probably because it's a Saturday, we couldn't get to these. So let's do that. So Wednesday, we are going to be going into these questions. Okay. I really hope that you join us and give us all the questions that you can ask and let us go into the future. So anyway, I've enjoyed it. It's been fun. For those of you that have been with us, it's been great. Thank you so much. And we'll see what happens in the future. So for now, I'm Audra Sargelis, and this is the Secrets of Sex Table Talk. And we'll see you soon. So bye, babies. Next week.